Hi, my name is Arlo, and I am a city youth worker. And how I protect my circle is by being vaccinated.
Hello, I'm Patrick McDermott. I'm also a city youth worker, and I protect my circle by being vaccinated. As soon as it was available to me, I worked with youth, so I was able to get it a little bit earlier than I'd normally be able to. My parents also kind of worked in fields where they were able to get theirs a little bit early with like elderly adults. So as soon as I was able to, I got mine.
I agree. As soon as I was able to get mine. Also, I was an essential worker, so I was one of the first to get it because I worked in a retail store. Just sore arm and a little exhausted, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I didn't really feel anything. My mom got pretty sick for like an hour or two in the morning after her vaccine, but yeah, I really didn't feel anything besides like that normal sore arm.
And it was just, I mean, wow, it was crazy. It was a lot of, it was like a lot of symptoms was coming to me at once. It was like first I got a cough, then the next minute I look, I'm tired, I can't move, different things like that, and it felt like my muscles could not even control themselves. It was like they were just, it was all just like blah. I couldn't, like, it's like nothing was working in my body, so
Yeah.
it hit me hard.
I also had COVID-19. This was well after I was vaccinated. It was the Thanksgiving, like that Thanksgiving break. So I was asymptomatic, so I didn't feel anything. Nobody else in my family tested positive. But yeah, it kind of sucked. I wasn't able to go to our Thanksgiving celebrations or anything like that. And I was like, no, everybody else can go. You guys all tested negative, but the rest of my family also decided to stay home. So it's just kind of like a bummer overall. Um,
The majority of the time, use a mask. Going to the store, mask. Um, it was the only day I didn't have my mask with me. I forgot to grab one at the front, but I pretty much everywhere I go, I put on a mask. I try to keep my mask on around other people at school and things like that. At church, everywhere I go. Um, yeah.
Pretty similar. I use my mask a lot, and I have like the N95 masks. I have a lot of those. Those are kind of rough. They hurt my ears a lot. So, but I also do a lot of testing. So um, before I kind of do anything big. So if there's going to be, I think it's my general gauge. If it's going to be like more than like 20 people all kind of together, I kind of test beforehand. Um, and then like over the weekend I'll test and things like that. Especially if I'm ever going to go like visit family or like visit somebody in particular, I always try to test. It's a lot easier because now, like especially working through with this job as a COVID youth worker, I have so many spare tests that I have the availability to kind of like test as frequently as I want.
Yeah, and also I test every time I feel if I'm sick, any type of. Most of the times it's my allergies. Every time I'm like, sometimes coming home from school, if I feel like a scratchy throat, I'll just take a test. Like I'm always taking tests. Like you ask my family, I probably take about 2 every week because I'm like so nervous of getting it again that I just want to be careful of going around different people and things like that. Or if I like forget to wear my mask one day, I'll be like, all right, I know I'll give it about 24 to 48 hours. I'm gonna take a test. That way I could see if it's in my system and things like that. But it's really, I would say, really the peer to peers. Um, are where we're actually going out in the community and actually addressing the situation and coming up with different solutions with the situation. So what I mean by that is we feel that with these peer-to-peer, we're actually noticing different types of effects that have came over youth lives and the people around them in their lives. Whether it's mental health, like damaging their mental health state, like they just can't properly think right, or what they thought was a normal life is no longer a normal life. Things like that, where trauma is coming. And so we're actually seeing that, and we're taking that information, and we're trying to come up with a type of solution on, okay, how can we work with young people and talk through that? Maybe we can't do it, but maybe setting up that type of appointment with a counselor who is professional with that, or maybe just for those people who don't want to go through that, just to talk one-on-one with us. We're trying to collect all of that information and run with it and help the youth in the community, because we're not just wanting to receive the data, just leave it on the table, or receive information, leave it on the table. We want to be able to go through it and help young people along with it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it better than anything I can say. Our peer-to-peers is really where we're interacting with the community the most. These have primarily been our rec centers, so a lot of just after-school programs, and yeah, getting in touch that way. I would say, like, it's definitely your choice, right? 100%. I would urge you to get vaccinated. I don't think that you kind of win anybody over to being vaccinated by being hostile or domineering. So I think that's also a thing that I can kind of speak to people who are vaccinated, is don't lash out and be extremely emotional about it. Try to sit down and talk to people. And a lot of times it's not that they're extremely anti-vaccination. Sometimes it can be other issues that are just kind of preventing people, ease of convenience, lack of understanding. There are a plethora of other things that it's not necessarily people are just completely firmly against it, because you're not really going to, like, if I'm talking to you and you're completely and firmly against my idea, it's not really a position that I can really change you on. So I'd say if you guys are like on the fence about getting the vaccine, come and see if you can talk to somebody, whether it be us or other people in positions of knowledge, so your doctor, and just talking it through with people, because I think that's how you're going to really arrive at your conclusion, and hopefully your conclusion is to get vaccinated. So.
Yeah. I definitely agree in everything Patrick said. I really like what he said about the lack of understanding. I really think that's the big part. Lack of understanding what this vaccine is about. There's so many different theories. Theories I heard, some ridiculous theories of being turned into zombies and things like that. All of that is really unreasonable explanations for the vaccines. So I just encourage those who, are asking, well, should I get the vaccine? Not to listen to the hearsay, but to actually collect the data and see the data that's right in front of us, and be able to look at the information that the FDA is giving out,
CDC.
In the CDC is giving out, just so we can look back over and say and look and say if that's correct. I'm vaccinated. I encourage people to get vaccinated. But at the end of the day, like Patrick said, it's all your choice. But it's just what's causing other people to not get vaccinated is really a lot of the hearsay. Oh, so and so told me that. not to get the vaccine because I'm gonna be a zombie, or my whole life is gonna change around and things like that. Look at me, I'm not a zombie. I'm not a zombie. I'm talking to you like a normal human being. So it's like, let's look at the data again, and let's make a choice then. But with the hearsay and stuff like that, I encourage for those people who are coming up with all these different explanations to not do that, because actually you're actually offending those people who may have had that decision of getting the vaccine, and you're actually you're wrongfully giving people accusations, giving people false information that's causing them to actually make a decision that might change their life. So I would encourage you, if you are doing that, not to do that, and actually encourage people to look over the data again, like I said, and actually decide in your own household if you should get vaccinated. Yeah, I think it is, especially in the minority community, because I think a lot of people with the vaccine and stuff is thinking, this is just one way the government is just going to kill off, those people who don't have the financial, um, that finance to actually have a good life. So those people who are homeless, those people who are in a low class, um, should just die off according to what they believe the government is, trying to do. So they believe the government has cooked this stuff up to send this out to them, mostly to kill them off. That way, the rich and the middle class can live in a world without having to hear on the news about, another uh, black low class person dying, or losing their house, or all these other type of stuff that's going on. So, and this is based off of what I've heard around my community, or around just in school, or just around about, is what I've heard. But I don't think it's true. But you still have those people in the minority community who do believe and get vaccinated. But you just have that big, I want to say a big percentage that is just can't see good out of getting vaccinated. They just can't see it. So I don't want to say they're blind to it, but I want to say it in the nicest way as possible. But they just don't want to look at it. They don't want to look at it in that type of way of being a positive thing, but they just want to look at it at a way where it's like, okay, well, I can't.
I think a lot of it, and this is something that I had really thought about at the beginning when vaccines were first rolling out, and I saw a lot of pushback, like in my own school, of people who are very, very skeptical. And I think that it definitely comes from like this long history of our government, and like I said, like the very like wealthy elites kind of exploiting a lot of these minority groups, and especially on the medical side, there's been an extreme amount just in our history of complete lack of understanding transparency, and like wrongfully experimenting on people, doing things without people's permissions, and I think also especially like with women, you get a lot of just kind of general distrust because that was a thing that these things happen. There are people alive today, I mean, that have went through and experienced that kind of discrimination and that kind of like deep-seated mistrust for the government, and rightfully so, I would say. I think that it's definitely working against us in terms of the vaccine and trying to get people to trust and understand it, because they do have like that history and that stigma around the government and just about society in general, because they were just oppressed and used and taken advantage of. So I definitely think that it is warranted based off of the past history. and that's not something that should be ignored or swept under the rug, and kind of talk more about. But I would just say that just because there's a precedent of it doesn't mean that every situation is like that. So, yeah, I think that is definitely like a huge thing that we have to talk about and discuss when we're talking about vaccines and trying to get people to get a vaccine.
Reach.
Yeah. I think a large part of that is going to the people and also proper representation. So I see it like a large part of the people that are engaging in this are, like me. They're usually from middle class or upper class neighborhoods. They are, usually white, and so it definitely has just a sense of general mistrust or not fitting in that will put people off from listening to your message. So making sure that there is that inclusive sense and that there is diversity in your workforce in terms of nurses and doctors and outreach people. And then also going to people. It's much harder to get people to come to you than for you to just go to people. So I think that is one thing that I think was really great about our COVID testing sites and vaccine sites is that they're usually housed in school areas or rec centers or the public market, things like central hubs where people are usually at and go to. So, but I think just kind of improving upon that and really going to hubs of the community in order to do that outreach, because you're really not going to get somebody to come to you. You really have to go out and come into contact with these people face to face.
And I agree. I believe at one point I thought didn't we have trucks going out what they call
like
it?
mobile, yeah.
Mobile in different areas. I think that was a great idea to do that, and I think it encouraged more people to get vaccinated because really it was transportation. Another thing is the needle situation. I think a lot of people are really waiting to actually get another type of way of taking the vaccine. If it wasn't, I know that's the best way to actually get it in your body much faster and more efficiently, but
people are scared.
A lot of people are scared of needles,
especially my little brother.
Yeah, especially on the news where it looks like it's like a really long needle, but when you go there, it's not really that big. But when you look, it's so big on the news, and probably because they zoom in so big, and it's like, well, this is what you're going to get, what's going to go into your arm, and people are like, no. So whether there's pills that people get or some type of other way,
combating COVID,
yeah. I think that's when you might have a lot more people get vaccinated. But I do applaud the medical centers and those health organizations and the government for doing their best and doing that, trying to help the community get vaccinated. But like I said, there's still people who are afraid of shots when they go to the doctor. No, doc, don't give me no flu shot now. I'm not taking that flu shot. Even the flu shots, nobody want to take the flu shots because of needles. Mm-hmm. So that's one. And then the other one is just faith, based off of what people believe in, their religion, or what their faith is like. They do not believe in getting a vaccine because they believe that they just believe that their faith is supposed to save them from any type of sickness, which I don't want to get into because, like I said, I don't want to offend anybody in what they believe in. But I do believe that is another big a big part of why people don't want to get vaccinated.
Please help support us. If you have been vaccinated, make sure that you give people some pushback and try to convince people to get vaccinated. That's the quickest way to help mitigate as many of these effects of COVID that we can have. And if you are not vaccinated, I would strongly suggest engaging in some conversation surrounding getting vaccinated. And even if that's not your plan right now, trying to understand it better and really exploring that as an option. Just, yeah.
And I also do recommend get vaccinated. I know the question that a lot of people may be asking is my life coming back to normal? I think we're way past normal now. I think right now what we're living in is going to be the new normal, even if everybody is fully vaccinated. You're still going to have people who want to wear their masks, even though a lot of people are vaccinated again. But I know the mask mandate has been lifted. You don't have to wear a mask going into different places, the majority of places. But I still urge you to protect yourself in every way you can. I can't say you have to wear a mask, but I do recommend that you do protect yourself when you're going in and out of places. I recommend that you do get vaccinated. I do recommend that you encourage people to get vaccinated, and you encourage the people that surround you to start wearing their mask when they go different places and stuff like that. And like I said, there is no going back to the way things used to be. I know your life may have been perfect, or your life, I don't want to say perfect, but your life before might have been, really good, and now it's like it went down path. But that can still happen again. Don't give up hope. Keep trusting and believing in what you believe in. Keep holding on and keep your focus, and everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. We just all have to come together as a nation, come together as a state, come together as a city, come together as a community to build each other up. It's not going to just take one person. I can't just sit here right in front of you telling you to do something, but it's going to take all of us together to stand with one another, holding each other's hand and leading each other on. So that's what I just want to say to you guys, encourage you.